Hello and welcome back.
Thanks for joining us for another episode.
I am Malcolm Childs.
And I am James Skiffins, and we are just making conversation.
This is Season 2, where we discuss the ins and outs of the model making hobby that brings us joy and pain in equal measure.
From the greasy sprues and the gloss coats, and everything in between, we are going to be just making conversation. Remember, there are other podcasts you can listen to.
Plastic Model Mojo,
The Scowl Model Podcast,
Plastic Posse Podcast,
On the Bench,
Model Geeks,
The Sprue Cutters Union.
Small Subjects.
Head to modelpodcast.com for all the links.
If you've enjoyed our podcast, consider leaving a review, as it promotes this podcast to more people to enjoy.
Showing your support to us is easy as making a cup of coffee. In fact, why not go over to buymeacoffee.com/JMC podcast and do just that. Your support will help go towards making the podcast and its content just a little bit better. In this episode, we've just been making conversation about Easter eggs in model making. Where are they used and why? Is there a need for them, or are they just an urban myth?
While your model is your own, how do people know it's yours? Using an Easter egg could be your way of signing your work, or just something you're known for doing, making that model on a display or competition area instantly recognizable.
Why is it called an Easter egg, and where does it come from? Who's it for? The modeler, or is it to ask the viewer to explore the model or diorama for longer?
We've got to talk about the new group build we're going to be doing. Lots of interest. We're getting very excited about that already, so we'll have details of that coming up later on at the end of the show. It's nearly Easter. Or is it Easter? Or has it been Easter?
Happy Easter, everybody.
I think it's been Easter.
It is, yeah. It'll go out on Easter Monday.
Easter Boxing Day, then.
Easter Boxing Day. What is that a thing? Easter Boxing Day?
No.
Or is that the day that you crush all the boxes that were left over from the Easter eggs?
Could be.
Could be. We could make it. It's Easter Boxing Day. I like that idea. Yeah.
So the day after Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aren't we up with our Easters?
Yeah.
But we're not talking about chocolate eggs. And we're not talking about the religious side of Easter.
Nope.
We're talking about the Easter egg that you might find in a model.
Not in your garden.
Not in your garden and not in your stomach. So, yeah, an Easter egg. What does that mean, Malcolm? What's your understanding of an Easter egg in a modelling sense?
A thing that is possibly nothing to do with what the thing is. A little cheeky nod to someone who takes the time to really look closely. It's kind of like a folly, you know? What a folly is? Yeah. But a little bit smaller.
Just a little bit in scale.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. I know a couple of people who kind of leave like a very clean part of their model if they're going to weather something. They leave one bit clean, and that's their Easter egg. You know, it's their thing.
Yeah.
Or I know someone who always takes out a track link or something. And I guess that's not even an Easter egg, but it's, well, kind of is, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah. It is. I mean, the definition of an Easter egg is a message or a hidden secret feature.
Ooh, yes, I like that, yeah.
That basically is there for the viewer to pick up on and create the links that may then entail. So, for an example, a good friend of mine, Robert Blocker, made a World War I scene, which one of the figures was painted as Baldric.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about this before, yeah.
And it was the British Army, so the link was the British Army and the First World War and all that, and it just happened to have a figure that had all the right features, etc., with a few added extras to make him look like Baldric.
Yeah, Baldric is from Blackadder, which is a famous UK TV series comedy. If you didn't know.
Yes, it's a comedy series, strangely, set in the trenches of the First World War. So, yeah, so it was a nod to that, trying to find the humour in a otherwise non-humorous scene, I guess.
Yeah.
So on lots of different levels, it works.
Yeah, I like that.
But the Easter egg actually was first devised as such. or coined, if you like, in 1979 by Steve Wright.
Steve Wright, what, the footballer?
No, not the footballer,
The DJ?
not the DJ. No, director of software development in Atari, and he described a hidden message in an Atari video game called Adventure, and in that it referenced an Easter egg hunt.
Oh.
Hence, that's why it's become a thing that's called an Easter egg.
Oh, I see. Right.
So the earliest known video game Easter egg was in Moonlander in 1973.
Moonlander. Right, okay.
But also this method, if you like, is something that's been used by artists in art as well for a long period of time. So it's not something that's new per se. It's something that's been around, but it's gone through technology has moved forward or things have moved forward.
I know them from films.
Yeah.
Very cool. I don't think I've put any Easter eggs in any of my builds that I can remember. I remember doing a District 9 diorama and popping cat food and stuff like that around. If you've seen the film, you'd understand why. But that wasn't so much an Easter egg or anything else. It's just a nod to anyone who'd seen the film and understand why there was tins of cat food around.
Yep, that is an Easter egg. It's a hidden message because
no, it's not hidden. It was laying on the floor.
Well, exactly. When I say hidden, it's not hidden under a piece of wood or something. It's something that's there, visible for everyone to see. But some people will look at it and not take that in as the reference it's meant.
I'm with you, yes.
Yeah, it is an Easter egg. Yeah. Because a lot of people will look at, for example, that diorama and go, "Oh, that's very good. I like that. It's very cool. And I like the pickup truck, and I like this, and I like that." And some people will instantly look at the pickup truck and go, "Oh, that's District 9, that is."
Yes, that's true. It does have MNU stickers all over it.
But the confirmation of their thought process is the cat food. If they know the film,
I guess, yeah.
They will link.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, it's also got some alien technology, like standing up in the shed behind. So, yeah, I guess that would be an Easter egg. Because it's not particularly shown. You can't see it from the front. You have to look around the back.
Yeah.
What about you? What Easter eggs have you?
I've eaten loads. Putting into models, I've not done that many, to be honest, but it's something in which I've always wanted to do and not thought through well enough. Because a lot of the Easter eggs I see in dioramas specifically are quite cleverly done, and they link to certain films or historical facts, maybe.
I remember you were doing trying to put an Easter egg into your Musaru build.
I was, yes.
With the flag.
Yes, I spent a long time fiddling around with that, and unfortunately none of the pictures in which are public show the Easter egg. But the Easter egg that I had devised that I was going to do was that my Musaru build was coming out of an airlock, and underneath his foot would be a flag with the Musaru figure on it. The approaches I tried didn't work and didn't look good enough, so it didn't make the model as such. But
made the cut.
It got cut out, yeah. But it will be something that will be going on there because a kind friend of mine did do some stencils for me.
Well, you know what? You should have done it. You should have really pushed him standing on something, because if he was standing on something, may have had a better chance of winning.
He might have, yes. He might have. But there again, thinking about that particular build as well, the Easter egg in that build is the tin of Umbro, isn't it?
Is this Mike's winning entry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well done. Well deserved. Very good.
Indeed.
Yeah. Is it an Easter egg though? It's kind of like the whole point of the thing, isn't it?
Well, it is, because it's linked to the fact that it's done by a model podcast, done by a model maker. The link to it, the way that the Gundam is painted is fairly subtle in its the way it's done. But you'll also find that other entrants that were done in the Musaru Cup did have Easter eggs as well.
Oh, right. I didn't notice.
To do with a fighter jet. And there were some references on the Gundam that were to do with the fighter jet. So that's another Easter egg. So Easter eggs are popular. Some are incredibly in your face and you can't miss them.
Apart from that, the flag that didn't make the cut. and you haven't put any other in. I guess it would have to be something purposeful as well, because the amount of fingerprints and stuff that go into my wings and things like that on aircraft accidentally, I don't think I could call those, oh, it's an Easter egg. I didn't mean to do that on purpose.
Well, it is a way of signing your model.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making that model your personal property.
Yes, you do a fingerprint scanner, and yes, that's mine. Thank you.
It's something that I've always admired in builds that I've seen, and because I've seen them, some I've missed, some have been pointed out to me, and some have been very. I've seen and realised that they were there, but it also makes me look a little bit closer to the models in general, because I'm not expecting one, but I'm making sure I don't miss one. Is the key. There is a model maker, but he often will put rats in his dioramas.
Oh, right. I'll chuck that in the show notes then.
So there is I'll try and find out who that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, this particular modeler generally will put a rat in his diorama somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's his way of that's his signature, if you like. Yeah. So that's he's known for it, so people look for it. And over the course of time, the rats are not as obvious as they used to be.
Wow.
He's now having to disguise them or hide them in some form.
Gosh,
so that people are looking more intently at the model to find them.
I see. I like that idea. You know, what if you were making a model that didn't have any relevance to rat whatsoever? You know, maybe you were doing a carrier build, doing a Harrier taken off from a carrier. A poet, and I didn't know it. A Harrier taken off from a carrier. Why would you have a rat in there?
Well, you wouldn't.
No.
And it would look out of place. But if that's where the skill comes, is to where you're going to put it.
Right.
Whether it be a physical rat or whether it would be a rat painted on the side of the Harrier, for example.
It'd be obvious, wouldn't it?
Or even the pilot's name being rat.
Yeah. How are you going to know that?
Well, yeah, that's the point. Is that you can be as inventive as you like with Easter eggs, and they don't have to be subtle, especially if it's something in which you're using to sign your models. You know, we said in the intro, having a model on display and having it become instantly recognisable. There are those occasions where people have. I mean, a few dioramists, for example, I can think of, do certain things. They use the same netting in a window or something like that, so it becomes a signature of what they're doing.
Did they get like 2 for 1 once when they were buying their curtains in scale? So I was like, well, I've got to use it up. I'm using everything now.
That's probably what it is. They had a little bit too much left over.
Well, using lace and just way too much.
It's for my dioramas, love. Honest.
Is that why all my knickers are stretched out?
And part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this was really...
Yeah, it's quite fun.
It's also more to say to them, look, it's a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of fun. For example, if you've got a poster and if you can somehow put your face in that poster, even though it would be an historical poster, but the face would be changed into your own. I mean, that's quite fun.
Yeah.
In a sort of way, depending on what the poster was. But, yeah, it opens up a lot of elements in which you could potentially try to get those little Easter eggs in.
Yeah, absolutely. What about, because I know we talked about it before we press record.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a little pre-podcast, don't we? We have a pre-podcast before we hit record to get out all the nuts and bolts and
gremlins,
grease the oil and get all the swear words out of the way. And in that, we were talking about people that write inside their models.
Yes.
Or sign them inside and leave a little note or something.
Yes.
Now, that's a alien thing to me. I've never, ever done that. And the only thing I can think of, something that I would even remotely attribute to, is like when someone writes their name on their toys. They write Andy on the bottom of their cowboy, you know, like in Toy Story.
Yeah.
They sign something, so this is mine, you know. Have you done it yourself, and why?
In the real world, yes, I've come across people doing it on walls and all sorts of things. I've known decorators that paint their name into a wall and let it dry and then paint over it, even though it's not visible. They know it's there. The classic one is people that hang wallpaper. You write a little message on the wall in pencil and then stick your wallpaper over it.
I've actually got a story for you.
Okay.
We moved into this house 11 years ago, and it was a new build when we moved in. It's a brand new build. It had been built a year before we moved in because of the amount of time it took us to sort our mortgage and out. About 5 years ago, we decided to redecorate our bathroom downstairs, and I took the mirror off the wall. So I unscrewed it. It was a flat mirror, 4 screws. Unscrewed the mirror, take it off, dick picture. A good one. It had all the details on it.
All the features.
All the features were there. And I showed my wife, and I said, look what he's done. And neither of us were sure whether we should be disgusted, amused, upset. It was a torrent of different emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure whether to rub it off or leave it like a Banksy, or I don't know what to do with it. We ended up painting over it in the end.
To be honest with you, are a classic. I have family that are builders, and yeah, I know why people do that.
That's like psychological.
It's all about putting it up.
What the dick?
No, it's not putting the mirror up, but tracing around it on the wall. Hanging the mirror up, and then knowing that whoever is in that house will always have a picture of their dick on their face when they're looking in the mirror.
I don't know if it was a self-portrait. It was just more of a cartoon.
I'm sure you didn't call up the builders and say, I'd like to do a lineup, please, and find who's responsible for this.
I'd recognise him anywhere. Yes, he was short and curly and circumcised.
And far too full of himself.
Yeah.
But yes, going away from real life for a second on models. I
That was an Easter egg. That was his Easter egg then in our house.
That was his Easter egg. Yeah. It's another example of the joy you can have from Easter eggs. It's not just a once a year thing.
Do you know what? I could do a tank, right? I could draw a little dick pic on the inside. Signed Dick.
I know a couple of armorists that do things inside their tanks before they button them up, just with a paintbrush.
Well, if they didn't like the judges, maybe. You know how waiters pee in soup? You'd be like, oh, that judge. I hate that guy. Do you know last year do you know what I'm doing? I'm going to piss in this tank.
Oh dear, it's one way of weighting your nose of your aircraft. Anyway, yeah, so I know, I do know it happens. I've not done it myself. One of your Easter eggs that you do on a regular basis is you don't paint the underneath of your tank.
Well, that's not an Easter egg. That's a practical and money-saving venture.
But it's become a signature.
Because everyone knows about it now, so yeah.
You can always put a message on the bottom of the tank, because maybe that is the thing that judges do. Maybe judges do turn their tanks over to see if it's been painted underneath. I don't know. I have no idea. But that would be quite funny to write a little message to the judge.
Well, if that's where you put your £5 note in it.
Yeah, 20 quid's underneath the base.
Yeah, I suppose, if I was going to put it into competition and then I wanted to win, then yes, I would paint the bottom, because you wouldn't want it to be the thing that you lost by. The only thing that's going to be able to see the underside is a rat. Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe you've had a little rat in there looking up.
There you go. Yeah. Either that or not painting the bottom of your tank and just writing on there, surprise.
Or no, you write on the bottom of the tank, model not attached to base. So have you ever written inside a model?
Only out of frustration. not as a purpose Easter egg, no. But yeah, no, other than that, I haven't.
No. I do know the people who do that. Yeah, I suppose maybe they're thinking that if it breaks one day, or then it'll suddenly crack open and reveal the name of the artist inside. Let us know if you do it, or you know someone who do it, and why they do it. And if you do it, then let us know why.
Yeah, and tell us what you do as well. Not if it's just a signature, that's fine. But if you have a particular thing you do, then let us know. You're right. There are some modelers that do weathering and leave a particular panel alone.
Yeah.
So it's completely different. But I always think that would stand out quite a lot, though, depending on what they do, I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose. Actually, thinking about it, I think I probably have done that. I probably have not weathered a particular panel, but
Yeah.
not sure I did that on purpose. I think that was probably just an oversight, but I can call that an Easter egg.
You cleaned it.
It was where my thumb was.
Yeah.
I think maybe the shape of my masking from my last build. Maybe I should put that in my every model somewhere.
What, your hexagons?
In my hexagon, yeah.
You could. I mean, you've got thousands left over. So just like the neck curtains and the lace, you got to do something with them.
That's right. I got to use them somewhere.
Oh, I can tell this is a James Skiffins original because it has the hexagon roof tile on there, and he's got a hexagon-shaped pocket on his butt.
The next diorama I do is going to have a hexagon tiled floor.
Oh yeah, yeah, or a beehive in the background,
or a beehive, yeah.
Or any type of haircut, really.
Any hair would be good.
Do you think then putting an Easter egg in your model is for you or the person who's going to be seeing that model?
I think it's a bit of both. For me, it would be something that I'd want to do for myself, so it'd become a signature as such. It wouldn't, for me, I don't think it would be the same thing. It'd just be something, just putting something on my model or in my diorama that's slightly out of place, that doesn't make quite sense, would be my Easter egg. I really like, I've mentioned it before, obviously, the Baldric, using a Baldric figure. Because that lightens the subject matter.
Yeah.
And I quite like how that plays. That plays really well on the subject matter itself, but also on a different level where you can start laughing about the model and it's a conversation piece. That's well thought out, well executed.
It's very popular in railway layouts as well, isn't it? Put Easter eggs and stuff in.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time, but that place up in
the world biggest railway layout. Is that what you mean? That's in Hamburg.
Yeah, the model place in Hamburg. They've got loads of Easter eggs everywhere, haven't they?
A railway layout is an ideal place because you can hide them everywhere in plain view. It does make it a great deal more entertaining to try and find those Easter eggs. You know, you got the flasher on the tracks. You've got the couple canoodling. I think it's the politest way I can put it.
Heavy petting.
Heavy petting, yes. By some sidings. I think it's for both the model and the viewer, in as much as the modeler is trying to entice the viewer to stay and look at their piece of work for longer. Because let's be honest, when you walk around a competition in a show, there's so much there to see and look at that the longer you can sustain that viewer's attention, the better they'll get an understanding of what you've done and the efforts you've gone to. I think it's to create a buzz, I think was the phrase you used. I think that is the idea.
For both viewer and modeler as well, isn't it?
Yeah, because you get a kick out of the fact that people are talking about it and you created that buzz.
Yeah.
But signing inside your tank is all about the modeler, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was going to see that.
The things that people don't see. And I think I would say quite a high proportion of modelers do something. They might not sign their name, but they do something.
Let us know.
Yeah, indeed, let us know. So let's go to the post bag, shall we?
Yeah, it's bulging, is it?
Oh, well, this week's been quiet, but that's probably, this post bag's been quiet. It's probably because we've been taken over with illness. That's why we've missed one of our drop-in zones. But you're feeling better now, aren't you?
I am, yes. Thank you very much. I came down with a case of the positive COVID tests. So I felt a bit poorly for a little while. I still do, really, but I'm back at it now.
Good to hear as well.
Yes, thank you for the well wishes that we received. It's very kind of you.
Yes. So in the post bag, we do have someone who bought us a coffee who says, now my parrot is dead, I find that I've got some extra cash. So I thought, why not buy the guys, Just Making Conversation, a couple of coffees, enjoying the show, lads, have a nice week.
Oh,
very nice of you to do so.
Oh, what was the parrot's name? Let us know.
And then, of course, comments that were made in relation to the Buy Me a Coffee page, which was exclusive to the Buy Me a Coffee page.
Dun, dun, dun.
Baldy and the Mooseroo, the story of a man and sprue.
Yeah.
Which was basically a write-up of the kit, how I put it together and what I did, and a couple of pictures there of the finished build. Now that went up about the 17th of March. We've had a few people look at it. It's a couple of comments. So yeah, it was quite well received. So thank you for that. But we have Gordon added a comment, and he said, "Fantastic paint execution and admirable patience to do all the hexagons individually." Yeah, patience was the right word. Maybe madness. But thank you for the coffee and thank you for the comment.
Yes.
Also, Chuck bought us some coffee, and he said, "It took me a few episodes to figure out what you guys were doing, as you have a very different approach from the other Scale Model podcast. But I greatly enjoy it. Don't apologise for the Britishism.
Britishisms.
They're great fun for us Yanks. Kind of like having a go, see what I did there at a puzzle." See, our podcast is a little bit like an Easter egg in itself. The fact we do talk about scale model making, but it does take a couple of listens to sometimes to figure out just what we're talking about.
You really have to listen hard from our podcast to find any of the model making stuff. That's very kind.
Thank you for the coffee as well. So that's all the messages for now. However, there is something we haven't done, Malcolm.
Mr. Cup update. Okay, let's do the jingle. I'll press this button here.
Mooseroo Cup, the Mooseroo Cup. Let's talk about the Mooseroo Cup. Boom! Woohoo!
That's probably the last time we ever hear that.
Yes, well, that was for this season, definitely. So yes, the Mooseroo Cup winner. This wasn't me.
Who was it?
It was Mike Basquet.
Oh, I've got a message from him, actually. From Mike Basquet. It says, "Dear James, ha 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 ha. Lots of love, Mike Basquet." It doesn't really. Just made it up.
He is the champion this year from Plastic Model Mojo.
It deserved too. Well deserved.
Congratulations, Mike. And they do say the Mooseroo Wrangler does just pre-warn us that Mooseroo 4 is in the works already.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They have a plan in mind.
The only caveat, the only thing I would be worried about if it was a paper model, but I think it won't be. So they wouldn't do that. Can't wait. I can't wait.
I've got some special dots for you that you can use.
Uh-huh. What, hexagons?
No, they won't be hexagon shaped. I'll make them a different shape.
You can't help me. You can't provide me any assistance. See?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, damn it.
So, no thanks.
Send all those masks back, will you now?
Awesome. Can't wait for that. That's the end of that Mooseroo update, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You have enjoyed it, though.
It was a great build. A subject as well. I loved it so much. I went out and bought two other kits. So, thanks for that. It's a rabbit hole I could have done without falling in, but yeah.
It's like drug pushing, isn't it? You know, just to give you a little taste, get you hooked.
Certainly did give me a taste to hook me up. I'm not sure we're allowed to say that the Chief Mooseroo Wrangler hooked me up. But yeah, thanks to Ian Fraser and all the guys at IPMS Hamilton. I know you had it on a big screen, and well done to everyone else that made the model. Everyone had its own individual
approach.
Amazingness. I can't think of a different word, but they were all amazing.
Something else happened recently too that was truly international, involving all the podcasts.
Yes, indeed. A big thank you to all the podcasts that got involved with the 48-hour birthday bash group build, which was hosted on my Facebook page, Model Officer. It was a 48-hour build of a 1/48th kit spread over 5 different time zones. It worked well, and everybody put amazing effort in. A special thank you goes out to Scott Gentry, who really took the reins in the American section.
Yeah,
and to the point where I just left him to it and went to bed because I had to, not because I was being rude. And he did a fantastic job. So thank you to the team. It wasn't just Scott, I know it was others as well. So thank you everyone. Yeah, everybody got involved. So it was fantastic. And we had 3 auctions and we raised a ton of money for Models for Heroes, way beyond my expectations. And all I would say to you, because this will be going out in a couple of weeks' time from when we're recording it. So the total at the moment is over the £3,000 mark. But I will be putting a post out nearer the time this podcast goes out, because it has increased to what I've advertised. So at the moment, we stand at £3,116, I think. But it is going to increase. So
Wow.
that is more than double what I had hoped to raise. So a massive thank you to everybody that got involved. And I mean that even down to the tea lady, the hobnob carrier, everyone that got involved with building models too. The highest amount of entries we've had over the years that we've been doing it of builders, which is fantastic. We had 50 people was it 50? Just over 50 people that said they wanted to get involved, and we had something like 40 odd finishes. Well done to everybody that did that.
There was lots of other things going on in the background as well, which really helped it too. I know that a couple of people who ran YouTube shows over the weekend cancelled their shows to make way for this 48-hour build so that people could go watch it, which is wonderful. I know that people were sharing the links and everything all the way through the weekend. Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, the support I had from people in just advertising it was far beyond.
That was everywhere.
What I ever expected, and I had
everywhere.
Strange people messaging me at all sorts of times of night for all sorts of reasons. One of the reasons was that the music that I used was a little bit of a worm, and I had people messaging me at silly o'clock in the morning saying, "I can't sleep, thanks."
Yes.
So sorry about that, but it will be back next year, I promise.
Wow, that's amazing. I know what to buy you for Christmas.
Headphones.
Earplugs.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. Thank you very much for everybody that got involved.
It was true, and not just for the hobby, it was amazing, but I mean emotionally as well. It was very good. A lot of people were opening up about their own mental health and talking about things that perhaps they never had dreamed they would talk about on a open online forum with perhaps strangers. And I know for Models for Heroes side, it's been excellent because people have come forward and asked for help, support. And what's the best way to go about that, which I thought was very good. So obviously been an influence with the bravery that people have been shown. So. Well done, James, for doing that.
Yeah, and next year will be bigger. It will be bolder. If you're listening to this and weren't involved and you want to be involved in some way, be it a builder, be it a sponsor, anything, drop me a note. I'd love to sign you up.
And the other thing we need to talk about, we talk about your nuts.
Yes. Well, I've been to the doctors recently, and
No.
Oh, not those ones. Oh, sorry. Yes, we're going to do a group build.
We are. Yes,
we are. There's a bit. Like you can expect, there's going to be a bit of fun with this group build because it's not going to be the normal sort of group build. We don't do normal on just making conversation. We like to think a little bit outside the box and far beyond it.
One might say we're a little nuts.
But this is actually inspired by one of our listeners, funnily enough. Way back when, in episode 21, we were talking about going small. And I used a picture, an image that I found on the internet. Didn't know very much about it. Just I liked it and thought it was very clever and worked well with what we were doing. But Paul wrote in to us and asked if we could tell him who the model maker was. And in this picture was basically the use of a walnut split in half. And inside that was a vehicle in a little diorama as such. Amazing thing. But this inspired Paul so much that he thought, well, do you know what? He said to us back in February this year. So he had a spare 1/144th Cougar wagon or two he had lying around.
Yep.
So he used that inside a walnut shell. And because of Malcolm's hesitation with electronics, he put that in it as well. Because why wouldn't you? But this got us thinking, because obviously it's inspired someone to try something a little bit different, and it was a great build. You can find it on the Facebook page around about February the 17th. But this inspired us, and we got talking in our pre-production chat one day, and I said, I think maybe we should try something around walnuts, just for a bit of fun. Malcolm said, well, I don't know, where do you get walnut shells from? So I told him Amazon. Really, very easy.
Too easy.
Lo and behold, found himself some walnuts.
Yeah. Instead of 6, I ended up buying 6 kilograms of walnuts. And walnuts are quite light individually, so probably all in all, I have about 300 walnuts right here. So, what better way of celebrating that is running a group build. Walnuts are up for grabs, and build a diorama within a walnut. Listen. So yeah, the idea is that get involved, get yourself a walnut. If you can't get a walnut, just go on to buymeacoffee.com/podcastjmc. Send us something small and your address, obviously. I will do my best to send you a few walnuts in the post, depending on customs restrictions for sending live nuts across the water. So if you're international, you might have to source your own nuts. So the idea is, get yourself a walnut, split it in half, and then enjoy the delicious flesh inside. Is that no?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Enjoy your nut flesh, and then build something that fits inside. The rules are that it has to close. It'll start date is the 1st of May, so you've got a little bit of time to think and prep. End date will be the 1st of August. Entries can only be entered through a Facebook page. It's called the Walnut Challenge Group Build. So go find that. I imagine that James will put a link up for that.
I'll put a link up for that in the Just Making Conversation media. So that'll be on Instagram and that'll be on Facebook, and also Buy Me a Coffee.
Join there, answer the silly rule questions so we know at least you're half serious, and join the group build. We're going to have an album for everyone's name, so just if you know how to make an album on the group, then please do. The other rules are as follows. Your walnut used must be able to be fully closed and shown closed in your final entry pictures. It does not need to be hinged, but it might be a nice idea to hinge it so that you can present it open and closed. It's easy to photograph. A lot of the ones that I've seen put the little hinges or made them themselves so they can open and close. Up to you. Don't have to. Also, your walnut base itself must be a real walnut. This is important. It cannot be a 3D printed walnut. It can't be sculpted, molded, or fabricated in any other way other than naturally grown from a natural, real walnut tree. So you can't 3D print your own walnut, 5 times the size and then whack a tank on top in 1/35 scale. So there you go. You have to have your real walnut. Okay. You can use you can use any media, though, to build your diorama. And it can be 3D printed, it could be photo etched, it could be plastic, it could be metal, resin, paper mache, whatever you like. Even paper, James.
Even paper.
You can enter as many nut projects as you wish. And you can also work on other people's nuts if you want. It's not a problem at all, sharing the love or sharing the work. And those are the rules. Is there anything else?
No, that covers everything. I will put a video up to explain how to create an album on that page. So if you're not familiar in any way, don't worry. The instructions will be there for you to do so. If you have any issues or problems, contact the admins. And literally the name of your album, just use your name. What we'd like to do in the albums is show, obviously, the beginning, as one cracks open right there.
Yep, sorry.
That's right. The nut in pre-production stage with some sort of way of explaining the date in which you took the picture, whether it be a mobile phone next to your nut or whatever.
I mean, really, you can't really prove it, can you, though? Group builds usually is a closed box of a kit, isn't it, next to a calendar or something. A walnut next to a calendar doesn't mean that you haven't started others.
We do trust people are going to take it in the manner in which it's meant. Bit of fun.
Yeah.
It's not too serious. There might be a winning prize of a great big bag of nothing.
We haven't talked about prizes at all.
Which won't be sent out to you in any way, shape or form. So we're not going to have people fighting over bags of nothing. It's just purely for fun. Other than trying to get rid of Malcolm's nuts, the other reason was to try to expand modelling skills and also to try something just a little bit crazy. And let's face it, this is completely nuts, right?
It certainly is. Yeah, so to go out and do some research and search out for those small, tiny, weeny models. One I was thinking about was 1/350th scale aircraft that go on carriers.
Mm-hmm.
There might be something there. You know, you might be able to do a carrier diorama. You can also get photo etched people that are very, very small. You can, a lot of wargaming pieces can be very, very small too.
Mm-hmm.
Massive potential for lots and lots of things. Use your imagination. Go nuts. And obviously, we'll talk about it on the podcast. And have you got any ideas yourself?
Me, I've got a few. There is the potential to think a little bit outside the box with a bit of humour. I'm not going to say any more than that. And please recycle the nuts inside in a manner that befits the nuts. Have a bit of fun with us over the next couple of months and get your nuts out on the bench and see what you can do with them.
So an Easter egg is not made of chocolate or egg, but is in fact a secret feature or maybe a message from the modeler to the viewer, using such things as a figure painted to represent a famous character, such as Baldric.
But there's also a way of a model maker placing a signature on their model, be it by using a rat or a poster with their face in an advert. You've been listening to Just Making Conversation with James Skiffins
and Malcolm Childs. Follow us on Facebook, where we post photos, updates, and other nonsense.
Let us know what you are just making and what your thoughts are on the conversation on this episode.
We have to thank our supporters who we dearly appreciate.
Please support us on
buymeacoffee.com.
Chuck, Tim, Mark, Bakawi, Simon the Jersey Gent, Steve, Lee, Costas, Mark, Julian, Ray, Neil, Mike, Robert, Andrew, Drew, John, Mike, Jeff, Richard, Lynn, Gordon, and 5 others
who took the time to buy me a coffee. If you would like to grind some beans for us, come join us on buymeacoffee.com/JMC podcast. If you do show your support, why not leave a message with your name so we can give you a shout out? Next time, we will be just making conversation about lighting and electronics and bringing the joy of sound to your model.
Goodbye.
Take care. When we talk about heavy petting,
is that in the comments?
If you go to a pet, no.
Oh, okay.
I'll cut this out.
Okay.
When you talk about heavy petting, is that the same thing as a petting zoo? You go to a petting zoo and you lightly pet the animals. Is that just general petting? But if you're going to go intimate, then it becomes heavy petting.
I would think heavy petting in an environment with animals would be illegal, if I'm honest.
But you see what I mean? It's the same word.
It
you
is.
Go to a petting zoo where we are allowed to pet.
Yeah, but the idea of petting zoo is where you show some love. Isn't that the idea of it? You show some love and you give some attention to animals.
You get physical with the animals.
Yeah, so it's the same scenario, but heavy would be frowned upon.
So it's a light petting zoo. Just curious. What if they had a bloody swimming pool at the petting zoo? Heavy petting not beyond this point?
I've never heard the phrase heavy petting being used in a swimming pool, so
have you not?
No, not at all.
Okay, right. If I Google swimming pool signs, pool rules. Here we go. Will patrons, it says, kindly refrain from running, pushing, acrobatics, and gymnastics. No using a hairdryer to dry your balls. Shouting, ducking. Ducking is drowning someone. It says bombing, swimming in the diving area, smoking, and petting. And it's just got a picture of 2 people with their arms around each other with love hearts.
So heavy petting is erotic contact between 2 people involving stimulation of the genitals, but stopping short of intercourse.
Oh, I see. Oh, so like third base sort of thing. What does it say petting is?
Is to stroke or pat an animal affectionately, treat someone with affection or favoritism, pamper, encouraging sexual stimulation, caressing and touching.
Right. So, is there levels of petting?
Well, given the fact that we're talking about a petting zoo, that sexually arousing a pet probably would be frowned upon, so that would be classed as a heavy petting situation. Treating an animal with affection and favoritism,
rubbing of the genitals.
I guess it doesn't mention genitals. It just says pamper. So I guess that's okay. And stroking and petting is obviously affectionately looked upon in a good light. But yeah, I can't believe we've gone from Easter eggs to heavy petting.